Melissa, do you get? Yes. I think I know about stage. Nine. Order. This probation officer was, I think, with any practice and file.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to take all that off because I need it for my leg. We feel like.
And the tough thing, like we talked about earlier, I think doing intake and this at the same time.
Because actually, we had to do the entire.
Yeah,
So Mary changed it.
back when you had twice the attorneys, yes.
No, back when we had half the attendant, but nice try.
Nice try, get real. You only intake it just in 8, and it's 2 legal.
All right, we're going to go on the record. Court is calling 2025 CR 00390 State versus Christopher Cruz. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state?
For the state of Texas.
Defense? Are you Mr. Cruz? Counsel, you received all discovery. Did you review it with your client? Court will find that the state is in compliance with discovery. Mr. Cruz, did you review the application for deferred adjudication with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it? Did you review the true bill of indictment with your attorney? Did you understand it? Counsel, do you waive the reading of the indictment? State, are you proceeding on the indictment as presented?
No, Your Honor, we'll be waiving the repeat offender enhancement.
All right, did you review the admonishments with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in all the appropriate places? Did you understand you're charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon? That's a second-degree felony. Range of punishment is anywhere from 2 to 20 years in prison and up to a $10,000 fine. If you have a plea bargain agreement with the state, the court does not have to follow your plea. If for any reason the court does not follow your plea and gives you more than you bargained for, the fact that you entered a plea will not be used against you, and you will be allowed to withdraw your plea. Did you understand? You have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call, and the right to remain silent. Did you understand by entering this plea, you were giving up those rights? And did you intend to give up those rights and enter into a plea in this case? Did you understand if the court were to grant your application for deferred adjudication, if for any reason your deferred adjudication were revoked, the court could find you guilty and sentence you up to 20 years in prison and up to a $10,000 fine? Did you understand? Counsel, has your client been able to provide you with any defenses? Do you believe he has a rational as well as a factual understanding of the charges against him?
Yes.
Do you believe he's currently competent and was legally sane at the time of the offense? Mr. Cruz, has anyone threatened you, coerced you, or placed you in fear to get you to enter this plea? Anyone promised you anything other than the plea? Are you satisfied with the way you've been represented? Are you a U.S. citizen? Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived his right to jury trial. Did you review the plea bargain page with your attorney? Did you understand it? According to the plea, there's a $1,500 fine, affirmative finding of deadly weapon, affirmative finding of family violence, and there's to be no contact with the complainant. Did you understand with an affirmative finding of family violence, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition? Did you understand with an affirmative finding of family violence, you're not allowed to be designated as primary custodial parent? Did you understand that to be your plea? Defense, is that the plea? State, is that the plea? Did you review the waiver of appeal paragraph with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it in all the appropriate places? Did you understand by signing that you're waiving your right to appeal? The only items that can be appealed are written pretrial motions that have been filed, heard, and ruled upon by the court. Did you understand?
Yes.
Counsel, have there been any such motions?
Yes.
Outside the agreement, the state is requesting that your community supervision be for a term of 6 years. There'll be 100 hours of community service restitution, anger management, a TAP evaluation, and an MRT. Did you understand those were recommendations from the state and the court does not have to follow those recommendations? All right, then to the offense as charged, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest? All right. State, any evidence?
Yes, Your Honor, this time state all those indemnities with one or attachment.
No objection.
All right, and state, have you spoken with the complainant?
Yes, we have, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. You may be excused.
Your Honor.
Did you review the waiver and stipulations with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it in all the appropriate places? Again, did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call in the right to remain silent? Again, and did you understand that today the state will be presenting evidence in the form of witnesses' statements and police reports, but most importantly, there will be no live testimony. Did you understand? Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived and consented to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Court will accept into evidence states exhibits 1 and attachments and review the same. After reviewing states exhibits 1 and attachments, the court will find there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty. The court will defer finding of guilt as you've applied for deferred adjudication. Are you proceeding with sentencing? All right, what's going on with in your life? Why would you attack your brother? Well, that's like not a normal reaction. You get mad and you stab your sibling. So what is going on in your relationship with him? There's more going on than just this night.
I think part of it, one way it was just, infidelity between, baby mother, thing.
No, this is you being upset with him because you wanted to use his phone and you stabbed him with a screwdriver.
Yeah, but but that,
What's stuff on the phone? Are you saying that he was cheating with your significant other?
not necessarily. I just, talking, but just, Google, the messages and stuff like that, it's all,
Well, it takes two.
Yeah.
Right? And of course, then you're in a situation where your brother owes you loyalty and the person you're with owes you loyalty, but you don't get into an altercation with them because you end up with a felony. You either accept it or speak to them calmly about it, or either you cry to whoever will listen and let it go and just say, you know what, I'm done with you all. Or, hey, brother, this is inappropriate for you to be speaking to the person I'm in a relationship with. That's how you solve that. Now you have this. So what are all the tattoos on? What are they about? I mean, what's the significance?
tattoos that I have. I'm 17.
Okay, why are you getting tattoos? What do they say? No, I mean, you got a name over here, a name in the center of your chest. Who are these people that you tattooed on your body?
One of them, the other one, the one on my chest is it's the same that comes with 17.
Mhm.
The other one is it is bigger.
Okay. Okay. All right, this is what the court is going to do. There's a $1,500 fine that will be probated. 6 years deferred adjudication. I'm going to want a gang evaluation done. There's an affirmative finding of family violence, an affirmative finding of deadly weapon. There's to be no contact with Samuel Cruz. If later you're doing well, I'll consider lifting that. 100 hours of community service restitution. How far did you go in school? All right. If you obtain your GED or some type of trade school, the court will find that the 100 hours of community service restitution is satisfied. There's intoxication involved in this, but based upon what he said was on the phone, there is also some anger issues going on too. I'm not going to ask for the MRT, but I am going to ask for anger management. And there's to be a TAP evaluation, follow recommendations. No. Have you used any type of drugs in the past? And what would that be? All right. Do you have any violent criminal history other than what you're here for today? All right, and just a deadly conduct? I'm sorry.
That's not correct. I can do. Reference if you like right now.
Well, the reason why I'm asking, because maybe he needs to be in felony drug court, but they do it on a case by case basis.
It's not really drug, it is like.
Yeah,
Okay.
the anger management.
All right, so we're gonna do anger management, TAP evaluation, regular reporting by Zoom or in person, regular random UAs, proof of employment within 30 days of release, no employment as a home health care provider or with minors, and no residing with minors. And I'll go ahead, I'll do a referral to felony drug court, and that will be in custody. Felony drug court will see you probably by next week, and it'll be done by Wednesday. A TAP evaluation in custody would take 2 to 3 weeks. So that's why I'm doing the TAP evaluation out of custody. But if you miss any of these appointments, what will end up happening is a warrant's going to be issued for your arrest because it's a violation of your probation. Do you understand? And there's going to be field visits 1 time per month until further notice. Is there anything else you need from the court?
All right. Meet with probation week 2.
Yes.
Along with the court about.
Yes, and we'll have him brought over.
And I'll be here.
All right, thank you. Did you review the document entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it? All right, because this is a plea bargaining agreement, because I followed your plea bargaining agreement, and because you waive your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Because this is an affirmative finding of family violence, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. If you have a question over what a weapon or ammunition is, you'll need to speak to an attorney. Do you understand? All right, thank you. Yes, custody. Bashan, I'll send you the an email with everything I wrote down. All right.
That's what they're 42%.
Yes, he does, but see if the next door is available. Okay. All right, and my understanding is that the jury is ready. So who is your next witness?
The state's gonna rest you on it.
Okay,
We are,
yeah,
we are gonna ask for directed verdict. on my-
okay. All right, so what I'll do is I'll have you all rest in front of the jury. And then I'll have them just wait in the hallway and I can hear your arguments. Okay,
And then Judge, I had a brief moment to look at the charge as well.
yes,
Just the inclusion of the word young was the only thing I found.
It's
For-
there a lot, yeah.
okay, just give me 1 moment. Let me put this in.
Sure, you can come this way. You can talk to him next door, man. Okay. Well, I think. We're in trial, so I need to move in. You can talk to him next door if we need to. Okay, I'll go next door. Thank you.
Sean, you see that real quick? You're welcome.
And I'm sending it, emailing it to you now. Just give me 1 second. It'll be 2 more minutes.
Huh.
It's in here way more.
Just the ones that I saw, but she can just control that.
Wow. Sometimes younger.
That person is that, you wouldn't say younger.
Younger isn't here a lot, yeah. Child younger than it was 17.
Oh, that's true. Well, she can just go through that.
Right.
No, you're definitely, you're right about that.
Jack, do you have a copy of me back there?
I do not have a clean copy of it. Actually, yeah, I do, in the file. Yes, ma'am.
I lost my.
I took your copy,
You did take it.
but it's marked. A clean copy. That's helpful. The only clean copy I have.
All right, Rashawn, I just sent it.
Okay.
Are we ready for the end?
Yes. Thank you. All right, thank you. And Rashawn, on Mr. Cruz, from reading the police report and everything and what he said to me, he has a heavy alcohol issue. So when they're testing him, make sure it's for alcohol. All right, thanks. All right, so deputies, my understanding from the state is they're not gonna call any more witnesses, they're gonna rest. So once they rest, we'll have the jury step up for a little bit, because then they're gonna make some arguments, and then we'll bring the jury back in. Because my understanding is that the defense may have witnesses they're gonna call. But we won't be doing closing arguments or any of that today. It'll probably be on Monday.
Do you want to?
Yes, please. All right, we're back on the record in 2024 CR 006930. State versus Alexander Rodriguez. Are both parties ready to proceed, state,
Yes, Your Honor.
defense?
Yes, ma'am.
And the court will note for the record that Mr. Rodriguez is present.
Oh, is that? I'm going to select me. There's no need. There's no. Okay.
Yes, we're ready.
All right, so jury.
All right, everyone, please be seated. And state, call your next witness.
Your Honor, at this time, the state will rest.
All right, you may be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, with the rules, the state must rest in your presence. So now that the state has rested in your presence, I'm gonna have you all wait outside in the hallway for about 5 minutes for us, all right? Everyone, please rise for the jurors. All right, everyone, please be seated. All right, defense, you may proceed.
Yes, Your Honor, we're moving for a directed verdict. As to count one specifically, there was testimony that there was no penetration of the anus of Emily Rodriguez, so we are asking for directed verdict as to count one. And then as to count two and count three, the credibility of Emily Rodriguez has substantially been challenged, and therefore we are asking that the court find directed verdict on count two and three due to the lack of evidence of any corroborating evidence for the alleged victim. And we are asking there's not a scintilla of evidence with regard to the penetration of the anus or the credibility of Emily Rodriguez.
All right, so with regards to count one, if the court were to rule that there's a direct verdict as to subsection one under count one, then numbers two and numbers three would still stand. All right, so let's address count one, subsection one under that state.
Your Honor, the complainant did testify that, in the beginning, she said he put his thing in my butt, and she did testify to that on the stand. Those were her words. We had to go and do further about thing and butt. Even if there was inconsistency, she still testified to that on record. And in her forensic interview, the outcry witness, where we had the proper hearing, testified to her explicitly mentioning that as well. Juror can make a reasonable inference with the yelping and the jumping and the pain with respect to the penetration of the anus. So with respect to a scintilla and multiple witnesses mentioning it, again, with respect to argument later on, of course, but with respect to a directed, the state does not believe that if that would be appropriate given the multiple areas of testimony that speak to that element or sub-element, if you will, of count one specifically.
But with regards to testimony from the outcry witness, that's not hearsay because it's not being offered for the truth of the matter asserted. Isn't that correct?
Yes, Judge.
So whether or not she told the outcry witness that that there was penetration, it's not being offered for the truth of the matter asserted. So the court has to look at whether or not the witness testified that there was penetration of the anus. I'll have the court reporter look for that in the record. So with regards to your request for a directed verdict for number one, subsection one, I'll have the court reporter look in the record because I think there was some testimony towards the end where she may have said that, but I want to be certain before I make a ruling with regards to number one. Let's move on to count two. No, they've already mentioned counts two.
Yeah, they went through the whole, yes. With respect to count two, Your Honor, again, there's very clear testimony that was given both by the forensic and by the complainant with respect to the touching of the breast. She had mentioned this multiple times, placed his hands there. And the grab was specifically a verb that was mentioned. So there's direct testimony related to both. Well, I guess just speaking to count two, there is that direct testimony from the complainant here in court.
All right, so with regards to count two, the court is not taking into consideration what was said by the outcry witness as to whether or not a directed verdict should be granted for count two. The court is going based upon other testimony that was received. So defense with regards to count two, your directed verdict will be denied. Let's move to count three.
Same thing, Your Honor. There was testimony with respect to the defendant placing his hand on her vagina, and that was testimony given by the complainant on the stand.
Okay. All right. Just give us a moment, and could you look for the penetration part? Everyone, please be seated. Defense, do you have any opening statements?
I do, Your Honor.
All right, you may proceed.
You heard the state's evidence so far, or lack of evidence. And you may have many questions on your mind. And we are going to try our very best to clarify some of those questions that you may have. But the question you should be asking yourself is, why is the defendant and his team having to put on this evidence that your mind should be made up by now at this point? But the defense feels as though we have to clarify some items because, quite frankly, there is a lack of evidence. There is no physical evidence, there's no DNA evidence, there's no photograph evidence, there's no cell phone evidence. So we need to produce something to show that this child and her credibility is at question. Now, you heard from the officers, you heard from Emily herself, and you heard from the forensic interviewer. The question you may be asking yourselves is, why didn't you hear from her mother? And I think I need you guys to keep that question in the forefront of your mind because we intend to call her and she has to answer some questions. There were multiple versions of Emily's story to multiple. So we're hoping to clarify some of those issues. And you're sitting in that chair because you swore to take an oath, to uphold the law, to follow the law, and to ensure that my client gets a fair trial. And to hold the state to their burden of proof beyond a reasonable doubt. Now, the state's case in chief was the iceberg. We're trying to show you the surface. I'm not obligated to do it. He's not obligated to do it, but we're doing it anyway because he deserves a fair trial and you deserve it.
All right, defense, call your first witness.
We sent Miriam Emory.
All right, can you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
Miriam Lisa Emory.
All right, you may proceed. I'm so sorry. That little square microphone, if you'll put it on your shirt somewhere, please, it's for the court reporter to be able to hear. All right, thank you. You may proceed.
Thank you. Ma'am, can I call you Lisa?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. How do you know Alex?
He's my ex-fiance.
Okay. And when did you get to know him?
We met January of 2021.
Okay. So January of 2021, and you moved in when?
August of that year.
Okay. And who moved in to his home?
It was myself and my 4 kids.
Okay. What are their ages and names?
Okay, so it's Rolando. He was 11. Mia, she was 9. Romeo was 7, and Ezra was 5.
And how many bedrooms were in the home?
It was 3.
Okay. And so with Emily, that's 7 people in the home?
Yes.
Who stayed in which bedroom?
So the 3 boys shared 1 bedroom, and then Mia took over Emily's bedroom, and then Emily and her would share it when she would come over on the weekends.
Now, and what was your relationship like with Emily?
I believe we had a good relationship. We'd talk about little things here and there, like her school and little boys she was talking to, or her activities, her grades, what she was into at that time.
Did she feel comfortable at Dad's house?
Objection, speculation.
Overruled.
Did she feel comfortable? You can answer.
Yes.
Did you ever observe any signs of sexual abuse on it?
No.
Did you, when this case came to CPS, did you cooperate with CPS?
Yes.
Did Alex cooperate with CPS?
Yes.
Did CPS come to your home?
Yes.
And did you allow CPS to interview your children?
Yes.
Okay. With or without you present?
Without.
And when did CPS speak to you?
It was a few days after the outcry.
And when was the outcry, if you can remember?
It was in September of 2022.
And then you continued to live with Alex for the next year or so?
Yes.
Okay. Did the police ever come by your home?
No.
Did they ever send a letter?
No.
Did they ever ask to take pictures?
No.
Did they ever ask you any questions?
No.
Did they ever collect evidence?
No.
How did Alex treat your children?
Really good. He took care of them.
What about Emily? How did he treat Emily?
The same. I mean, it was no unfair treatment anyway. They were all his kids.
Was there any animosity between Emily and your kids?
Objection, speculation.
Overruled.
Not that I noticed. They all got along well.
Now, yeah. When was the last time Alex saw Emily?
So when she outcried that weekend before.
So September 15th of 2022, the weekend before was the last time.
Yes, because we had her that weekend.
And then after that point, you never saw her again.
No, ma'am.
Okay. How many times did Emily reach out to you and Alex?
She reached out to me several times afterwards, not soon after, but after the outcry.
When was the first time she reached out to you after the outcry?
I think it was around Christmas in 2024, if I'm not mistaken.
And did you provide us with cell phone messages between you and Emily?
Yes.
From that period of time?
Yes.
You recall, I'll get back to this. How many times did Clarissa ask you and Alex for money?
I'm gonna object to hearsay and relevance.
To relevance.
After the outcry?
All right. The objection to relevancy is overruled.
And to hearsay, Judge?
The question is-
Response to his objection of hearsay.
It's not asking for what she said and asked for money. I asked how many times she asked her for money.
It's
The hearsay would be sustained.
How many times did Clarissa reach out to you and Alex?
Maybe like three to four
After the outcry?
after the outcry.
Okay. Now, I'm gonna ask you a very personal question. Did you have a sexual relationship with Alex?
I'm gonna object to the relevance here.
Overruled.
Yes.
And does Alex's genitalia have anything remarkable about it?
Yes.
Okay. Can you explain to the jury what is so remarkable or noticeable about Alex's genitalia?
He has 3 beads on the top of his penis.
And what are those beads called?
I think they're like pearlings, something like that. Pearlings. They're like little balls, little pearls.
Okay. And did he have these when you met?
Yes.
And you met when again?
2021.
And so, can you describe what they feel like?
They're like beads or like I guess beads is the best thing I can describe them as. I mean, you can feel them and see them. They're pretty visible.
Okay. Are they soft to the touch or are they hard?
No, they're hard. You can like move them a little bit, they wiggle.
Yeah, I question.
Yes.
I'm showing you an illustration of what purling looks like. Is this, would this help the jury understand and visualize what purling looks like on a male genitalia?
Yes.
Okay. And, Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to publish the demonstrative for defense, if I could show the court.
State.
Your Honor, not to object to the relevance of an unknown male genitalia as it relates to the defendant's specific genitalia.
All right, and defense, you're presenting that just to show the beating, is that correct? All right, objection is overruled.
May I publish to the jury?
Yes, and if you can use the Elmo if you want, or either you can hand it to them.
I think I'll hand it.
Okay.
So it's not. Okay, what is the purpose of the purling?
I believe it's for pleasure to the other person.
Okay. Now. How did Emily act at your home without?
Like a normal teenager girl. I mean, we would watch movies, have movie night, go buy snacks, we would bake stuff, go to bowling, go to amusement parks, go swimming. She would stay in our room and watch YouTube while she does her homework. Her music playing. She would come home and tell us about her track meets so we can go to her award ceremony so we can go. When she wanted her belly button pierced, she came and asked us permission. It's just a normal relationship.
And how did Alex discipline Emily?
He was never the disciplinary. He's very mellow, you can say. I mean, it was always her mom was the enforcer. So like if she was grounded, Clarissa would text him or call him and tell her she's
Objection,
grounded.
Your Honor, this is calling for hearsay.
All right, that'll be overruled.
She would call her and tell her she's grounded for X reason and how long is he gonna ground her for? And then they would like coordinate like that.
How did Emily feel about your engagement to Alex?
Object to speculation.
Overruled.
She was happy.
Did she message you that?
Yes.
And this was again after the outcry.
Yes.
Did she ever ask you how you were doing?
Objection calls for hearsay.
That'll be sustained.
How many times did she reach out to you after the outcry?
Several times.
Did did Clarissa ever confront you about the communication with Emily?
Subject to hearsay, Your Honor.
Overruled.
Yes.
Now, did Emily ever attempt suicide in your home?
No.
Did you ever notice any signs of suicide
No.
or cutting?
No.
Now, since you, when did you and Alex break up?
It was towards the end of 2024.
And are you on good terms?
Yes.
And how do you feel about Alex?
Not to object to the relevance, Your Honor.
Sustained.
Did you have to be subpoenaed to be here?
I was subpoenaed, but I came willingly.
Okay. And do you have any ill will towards Alex?
Let's object to relevance again, Your Honor.
Overruled.
No,
Did Emily sneak out of your home?
I'm object to 404, Your Honor.
Overruled.
yes.
How did she manage to do that?
We learned about it after the fact, but she snuck out through the front door and went to somebody's house. I think one of her friends at that time that she was going to school with.
Is it a boy?
Yes.
And did she come back the next day or what happened?
No, it was within that night. So it was when we were sleeping. Our room's towards the back, so can't really hear. We have a big old fan that was going, but yeah, she came back before we woke up in the morning.
And how did you find out about it?
Clarissa ended up calling Alex that the boys' parents
Let's object to
confronted them.
hearsay, Your Honor.
All right, the objection to hearsay will be sustained.
Did Emily ever cut the internet?
It wasn't the internet, it was our cameras. So we have cameras. They disconnected or she disconnected the cord or power.
And that was the night she snuck out, right?
Yes.
That's a witness.
State.
Lizette, have we ever met before?
No.
And just want to ask you just a couple of questions here, just so I better understand. Are you trained in kind of pathology or forensics with respect to recognizing signs of sexual abuse?
No,
Are you trained in pathology or forensics with respect to signs of suicide?
no.
And you met him in 2021?
Yes.
Did he have the beating in 2013?
That was before I knew him, so I'm not too sure.
You don't know.
Mm.
2014?
I wouldn't be able to tell you when exactly he got it.
2015?
I don't know.
So that includes 2016 and 2017.
I wouldn't know.
That'd been 4 years before you met, correct?
Yeah.
No further questions.
Nothing more from this sector.
All right, is this witness excused?
The state, Honor, yes.
Defensive.
The rule has been invoked. You're not allowed to discuss your testimony with anyone. If you'll leave the microphone behind, please. All right, defense, call your next witness.
I call Clarissa Herrera.
You can approach, Your Honor.
Yes.
Briefly.
Clarissa, can you call your next witness? I'll call your next witness.
Yes, Clarissa Herrera.
All right, can you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes,
All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
Clarissa Herrera.
All right, defense, you may proceed.
Thank you. Ms. Herrera, are you Emily's mother?
Yes, I am.
Okay. What is her date of birth?
11/11/07.
How old were you when you met Alex?
Like 9.
9?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then when did you get married to Roy?
Sorry, I'm horrible with the dates. 2014.
In 2014?
Yes, ma'am.
And there's only few age, or how far apart in age are you and Alex?
A few months.
Okay, so you were in the same grade?
No, ma'am. He was a year before me.
Now, so he was 10 and you were 9?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then you and Roy got married at 14, in 2014?
Yes, ma'am. I believe so. Sorry, I'm really bad with dates.
Do you recall getting into a relationship with Alex in 2014?
I don't recall the dates.
Do you recall being in a relationship with Alex before the outcry on September 15th of 2022?
Yes.
Okay, and this is while you were still married.
Hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And just one moment. There's a square microphone there, and you could put that somewhere on your shirt so that court reporter can hear. And if you could keep your voice up so members of the jury can hear.
Yes,
All
ma'am.
right, you may continue.
Okay. So you testified that you got married in 2014, but actually your certificate of marriage is registered in 2011. Is that right?
Yes, I'm sorry. I'm horrible with dates. You're right. You're right. Yes, ma'am.
I want to be clear.
Yes.
Okay. So during that period of time, did you have a sexual relationship with Alex?
I did.
Okay. Are you familiar with his genitalia?
Yes.
Is there anything remarkable about Alex's genitalia?
I'm not sure what you're asking, but no.
Okay. Do you recall having thousands of Skype messages between the two of you?
Yes.
And you would send images of genitalia, oh, you would send explicit images to each other?
I'm at the objecting our type of hearsay, essentially listening to what this person said.
All right, that'll be overruled.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so, you would send him pictures of yourself and he would send you pictures of himself?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did you ever, whenever you would have your sexual relations, did you ever notice curling that he has?
I don't recall. I'm sorry.
I marked it, defendant's exhibit 28, Judge.
All right, thank you.
Isn't it true that Alex has 3 pearls on the top of his penis?
I guess it's possible, but I don't know.
How many times did you have sexual relations with Alex?
I don't know.
Well, more than once?
Yes.
So, and your relationship lasted from 14 until 2019?
On and off, there would be times that I would not have any communication with him whatsoever.
Okay. But you would agree that it was certainly more than 50 times.
I don't know about 50. I'm sorry, but I don't remember the markings on him.
Do you recall discussing them in your communications with him?
I don't think so. It could be, I'm not sure.
And you had a good relationship with Alex, is that right?
Yes,
Until he stopped paying you child support, right?
I'm gonna object to
No.
relevance, Your Honor.
Overruled.
no, that's not true.
And then you also had an issue with him dating Lisette, is that right?
Not initially, but she did grow on me. I did like her after a while. I did not like her initially.
And you've messaged him and said that doesn't matter who he's seeing, you guys were always gonna be meant for each other.
It still calls for hearsay, Your Honor.
Overruled.
That's not true. I know I stated there multiple times, I hope you find somebody that can treat you right, somebody who can love you.
You weren't mad when he dated other girls?
Not at all. We openly talked about that. He even had a tattoo of somebody on his chest.
Now, you never sent him messages after the outcry.
No, I
Object to
was
relevance, Your Honor.
angry.
Overruled.
No, I was furious. Or you said it, was there any communication? I mean, just for child support, but other than that, I think I reached out at anger. But that was pretty much it.
Isn't it true, 7 days after the outcry, you asked for money?
I object to hearsay.
Overruled.
I believe so. Yes, he was still, to me, obligated to pay for his daughter.
And then months later, you again hit him up for money.
It was always an ongoing issue throughout the years. He would pay, he would have car issues and different reasons as to why he couldn't pay.
You would agree that you have a long CPS history.
I do not. I have CPS cases, yes, but not a long history, no. Are you referring to my childhood or to my children personally?
Well, if you want to talk, we can start with your childhood. You had CPS called on you approximately 15 times.
I'm gonna object to the relevance, Your Honor.
What is the relevancy of her childhood and CPS?
Well, she raised it, but we can move on, Judge. With regard to Emily specifically, there was a finding of reason to believe by CPS where you and Roy had physically assaulted Emily.
Not myself, it was my husband, yes.
Okay, and you left her covered in bruising?
No, it was on her bottom part. We were misinformed on, we had very bad upbringings, and so we didn't know the proper way to discipline children. After that, we did learn and we stopped. It was on her bottom.
Okay, and so she was 6 years old at that time, right?
I believe so, that I don't remember.
Okay. Was she bathing by herself at 6 years old?
I think I would help her from time to time.
And at 6 years old, you never noticed any bleeding or marks on her body besides the ones you left?
I never thought to look, no.
Well, you never thought to look at her body?
Well, like I never would have thought to look for bruising. I would have never thought to look for abuse, no.
Isn't it true that when Emily got her period, you asked her if something had happened to her?
I don't remember.
You don't remember telling the district attorney's office that?
I'm gonna object to ask the answer.
Overruled.
I'm sorry, I don't remember. Like, I don't understand your question.
Isn't it true that you have previously told the district attorney's office that when Emily got her period at the age of 12, that you immediately asked her if something had happened to her? If anyone had touched
You're saying like after we had already known about everything?
her before?
I don't remember, I'm sorry, and I'm confused with the question. I apologize. I just don't want to say something and then like it be.
Okay, well, let me ask you this. So with CPS, they conducted an investigation from this outcry in September of 2022, right?
I believe so, yes, ma'am.
Okay, and did you cooperate with that investigation?
Yes, fully.
Okay. And then you took her to the forensic interview?
Yes, I did.
Who was with you?
I believe it was myself, my husband, and my children.
Okay, so all of you went together?
I believe so.
And
Is
then,
this with the child safe?
yes,
Yes, ma'am.
okay. And do you recall talking to the child safe forensic interviewer?
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember, you said the last time that Emily saw Alex was in 2022?
I believe so. It was after the outcry.
Okay, so you never allowed her to see Alex after the outcry?
No, I did not.
I'm showing you what I've marked as defendant exhibit 29. Is that an administrative review request that was filled out by you?
Sorry. This is,
Signature on page 2 with a signature date of August 11th, 2023.
so this is not my signature. Name says Clarissa Rivera.
Okay, did you go by Clarissa Rivera?
No, ma'am. Clarissa de la Rosa.
Isn't that one of your aliases, Clarissa Rivera?
No, ma'am.
And then case name says Emily Rodriguez, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So are you claiming that you didn't fill this out?
Don't think so, ma'am. That's not even my signature. I could show you it on my ID. Not my signature. That's not even my name, Clarissa Rivera. I
Okay,
don't-
so you're saying the alleged perpetrator, Emily Rodriguez, and the alleged, I'm sorry, alleged victim, Emily Rodriguez, alleged perpetrator, Alexander Rodriguez, are completely different people.
Say that one more time. I'm so sorry.
They're completely different people.
Who and who?
Emily and Alexander Rodriguez.
Yes.
Even the name of mention of Lisette as his girlfriend, that's completely, this is a different case.
I'm sorry, your question one more time. This really like, I'm so sorry. I like was trying to find something that was something that I had said, and so that really, I guess, brought my attention here. And then like not even my signature, so it's just, sorry.
Okay. And the reason you're not admitting that you find this is because here alleges that Emily was essentially molested by Alex, in February of 2023. Is that right?
I don't remember when this began, when the sexual abuse began.
Well, you know, it ended in 2022. It didn't happen in February of 2023, right?
No, she was no longer seeing him after 2022.
Okay, so whoever filed this, what is your phone number?
My phone number right now?
Yeah.
Okay, 832-341-6164.
other names do you go by?
It's just De La Rosa.
What was your maiden name?
De La Rosa. I've been Herrera for 13 years.
So you're alleging you did not write this.
You have to object to ask and answer, Your Honor.
Overruled.
I apologize. No, the name says Clarissa Rivera and the signature is not mine either.
Okay. And it mentions your child and the suspect. And Lisette.
I guess so. There was a lot in here. That's what I was trying to unravel, but I don't know who the 210909 number is. That's not my number.
Okay.
There was a really rough history with my mom, so it could be her. But no, that's
I would
not
not
mine.
go into,
That's okay.
okay. So you're saying your mom would have faked your identity,
Yes.
just like she reported you to CPS for the bruising?
Object to
Yes.
relevance, Your Honor.
Overruled.
Um, You have accused multiple men of sexual assault before.
Object to 412, Your Honor.
Overruled.
Not multiple men, no.
I'm gonna object to relevance then, Your Honor.
Overruled.
You can't remember?
No, 3.
Okay. And all those 3 men have been closed out. CPS has closed the case, no findings, right?
The one when I was 4, I don't remember. The one with my father, I stopped seeing him when I was, I believe, 10 or 11.
Right, just one moment. Can I have parties approach? All right, you may proceed.
What was your phone number again?
Currently, I'm not sure.
When you were moving to Houston, do you recall filling it out an ICPC?
Filling out what?
An ICPC?
I don't recall.
Showing you what I've marked as Defendant's Exhibit 30. This is a government form. Yeah.
Sorry, again, with the Clarissa Rivera, I don't know who that is.
Okay, but you would agree that, the address of that this person asked for monthly rape kits.
I'm sorry, I don't know.
At the bottom, placement be made.
Your Honor, this is hearsay.
Overruled.
You're saying at the bottom, does it say what? I'm sorry?
Under section 4, action by receiving state pursuant to Article 3D of the ICPC.
Yes, it says under supervised visitation with monthly check and unrape kits to be done every month.
And what is the date?
6/24/22.
Yeah.
But again, this is Clarissa Rivera. I have no idea who that is.
But that is your daughter, Emily, right? That's her date of birth?
Yes, ma'am.
That's her gender and sex?
Yes, ma'am.
And that's her father, Alexander Rodriguez, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So somebody was asking for monthly rape kits to be done on Emily 3 months before her outcry.
Yes, but I don't know whom.
Somebody with your name, but not your last name.
Yes. The phone number is also different, 596, just different.
For communicating that you wanted to get a gun and kill Alex.
Say that one more time, please.
That you wanted to get a gun and kill Alex.
I am a gun owner, but you're asking if I feel that way?
If you felt like that after hearing the outcry.
Absolutely.
And did you communicate that?
Yes.
And then you still allow Emily to go with his family.
Yes, I trust them.
Okay. You trust them, but according to your daughter, she was being molested during the time in which he was with them.
With all due respect, I've known them since I was 9. I do trust them.
Okay. And if they were to testify that nothing happened, they never saw anything, they never suspected anything, you would trust their
I'm not gonna
testimony?
object to a hypothetical on direct, Your Honor.
All right, any legal objection?
That's not relevant.
Relevancy will be overruled. Any other objections?
Speculation.
That'll be overruled.
So what was your question? I'm sorry.
If they testify in court that they didn't see anything, hear anything, you would trust their testimony?
I wouldn't trust that statement or that opinion because it's their son. So I do get it. I have children of my own, so I get it.
But you still allow Emily to go on vacation with them, to go out of town with them.
Again, I trust them. I trust Christina. I trust her sister.
See, you. Okay. Let's go over some of these communications between you and Alex. Okay. October 6th of 2021, you said you told Alex that Emily was grounded, right?
I believe so. I'm not sure. She was grounded for different things, sometimes small, sometimes large, in my opinion, just depending on what it was.
Okay. Do you recall telling Alex that she had cut herself?
I think so. She had cut herself on her arm one time, and that raised concern.
And she cut herself in your possession?
I don't recall where she was at the time.
Okay. And you told him that she had really bad anxiety, right?
Yes, she did.
Okay. Now, November 5th of 2021, you tell him that Emily really wants to spend more time with him. Is that right?
Yes, I stated that multiple times to him. I always wanted him to spend more time with her.
But the question is, Emily wanted to spend more time with him, correct?
Yes, she wanted something outside of the 2 days.
Okay. So, and when you went to Houston, or you moved to Houston, you didn't take Emily with you?
I did not know, ma'am,
Who did she stay with?
with my grandmother.
And she wanted to continue having visits with Alex, right?
I don't think so, no.
So when Emily had the opportunity to leave the city and not be with her abuser, she decided to stay.
Object to counsel testifying now.
Overruled.
So my grandparents raised me, so they've always been very close to home. I trust them with everything.
Okay. You also had concerns that Emily wasn't eating in your home, but was eating at Alex's home.
I feel like the foods he would offer her were a little bit more unhealthy and therefore more appealing.
So fatty foods, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And fast foods.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so she felt comfortable enough to stay at his home and eat properly.
She would eat more unhealthy foods and therefore eat more, yes.
Let's talk about when she snuck out. Did you ground her for that?
I believe so.
And did you talk to Alex about what you guys were gonna do to punish her?
I believe we always try to keep communication with in regards to how we were gonna discipline her.
Okay. Now, with regard to, do you know Alex to have punished Emily physically?
Not that I'm aware of, no. Oh,
And-
like maybe little spanks, but nothing to where I thought it was excessive, no.
Okay. And, um, oh, when Emily snuck out, she snuck out to meet a boy, right?
Yes, her and one of their stepkids, or two of their stepkids.
And then you also would tell Alex that Emily was interested in an older boy, a senior.
I'm not to object to this getting into the realm of 412, Your Honor.
Sustained.
Did Emily have a lot of friends?
She had enough that were sincere.
Okay, and they would come to your house?
Yes,
And they would come to Alex's house?
yes.
Now, you continue to talk to Alex even after the outcry, right?
It was very minimal after that.
Okay. Now, do you recall stating, I don't know if you care, but she's doing real good. Still a sweet soul, nothing like us. She wants to be a doctor and join the military.
Object, Your Honor, to reading outside the record.
Sustained.
So you were still giving him updates about Emily.
So growing up, I didn't have a dad. So to me, it was important that
The question is,
despite what he did, that he knew she was good.
okay, so the question is, you were still giving him information about Emily, even though she outcried.
Yes,
And then again, you were asking for more money, yes?
I've always thought it was his financial obligation to provide for his daughter.
And then you changed your phone number. And then you gave it to him, right?
I believe so, yes.
And then when you moved back into town, you also told him where she was going to school.
Again, I've always thought it was important for him to know that she was okay.
And you allowed Lisette to communicate with Emily, correct?
Say that one more time.
You allowed Lisette to still communicate with Emily.
I did, but then I felt uncomfortable with the situation.
And then again, you asked them.
Money, there were always different issues, even before 2022, there was always ongoing issues. Child support.
So Alex put himself on child support, right?
I don't remember. I'm pretty sure I requested it, but I don't remember.
Have there been? I'll rephrase. There have been 4 calls and disturbances in your household with Emily and the children, right?
Possibly for different reasons I don't recall.
Okay. How about domestic violence?
Not object to relevance, Your Honor.
Relevancy?
If the child experienced traumatic events?
If you can approach.
Isn't it true that Emily was discharged from therapy October 23rd of 2023?
I believe so. I don't recall the exact date.
So, is she still seeing a therapist?
She is not.
Okay. So she only needed therapy for 1 year?
So with Child Safe, it's like a program and it's like a certain amount of months. She went through that, and then afterward, I did ask her, "Do you want to see a therapist or a counselor?" And she said no. She said she'd rather handle it herself.
And Emily, as she stands today, is she 17 or 16?
She's 17.
Now, when you talked to the initial officer about what occurred, you didn't tell him that you were having this affair with Alex, right?
No,
And was that because your husband was standing right next to you?
because it wasn't relevant. My daughter was abused, and that's what we were addressing.
Okay. So does your husband, is he aware of what has been happening between you and Alex?
Object, Your Honor, to both speculation and relevance.
That'll be overruled.
No, not fully, no.
And you've asked Emily to keep that a secret from Roy, right?
I don't know if I've asked her, we just don't discuss it.
Would meet with Alex pretty regularly for your meetups, right?
Yes,
Okay. And even during the time period where Emily was visiting Alex, you two would still run off together and have relations.
it was rare that we would include the children. It was rare, very rare.
Okay.
I always tried to keep my children apart from anything that I did.
So she never saw you and Alex together?
Object to speculation.
Overruled.
Maybe, but I mean, I was her mother and he's her father, games, things of that sort. But again, I would really try to keep my children away from anything that I did wrong.
So did you go to dinners and lunches together?
Not with my children. Or you're saying in general, him and I? Maybe, yeah.
So you don't remember an occasion where you went with Emily?
I mean, is it possible? Yes, but it was not regular, that I assure you.
Okay. And so you never asked her to not tell Roy, to keep secret?
I don't
Object,
think-
asked and answered, Your Honor.
Overruled.
We discussed it, no,
Did she ever bring it up to Roy?
I don't think so, no.
When do you believe Emily had her first period?
I believe at 12.
Where was she, where were you living when she was 12?
At the 7710 address.
How far is that from Alex's residence?
About 2 miles, give or take.
Are you aware that your husband has been avoiding being subpoenaed?
Not to object to relevance and calls for speculation.
Right, with regards to relevancy, that will be sustained. Unless there is a. Do you have an answer to relevancy?
Let me just ask her, are you aware that Roy Herrera has been subpoenaed for this case?
Object to relevance again, Your Honor.
Overruled.
He's very stubborn.
So he didn't want to.
Object to speculation.
don't know.
Overruled.
Do you recall? You recall telling Alex that Roy was abusing you and the kids?
I was very dramatic when we were very dramatic. Any argument, I'd be like, oh my God, this happened, this happened. I was very dramatic.
Rolling. $31.
$30.
What number are we on?
$30.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna put you. I don't have an extra.
Yes.
Do you see this picture here?
Yes, I do.
And whose buttocks is that?
It's Emily's.
Okay. And do you think that you were being dramatic when you were alleging that Roy was being abusive towards the children?
So he did spank her that one time with his hand. As I said, we both were raised in very bad upbringings, so we weren't aware of how to discipline children properly. That is on her bottom. My abuse, and I know it's not about that, but it was on my back, on my legs, and here it was her bottom. After this incident, we no longer ever disciplined them like that again.
This was. I did mark it incorrectly, Judge. It's 31. 30. Can I tender it to the court, Judge?
Yes.
So. With regard to Roy, he also slapped your twin boys in the face, right?
Object to relevance, Your Honor.
Relevancy.
Hunter, this child has been in a chaotic environment and she has reported multiple times of domestic violence and mom has not backed her up, not once.
All right, if you can approach.
You said Emily had good grades, is that right?
She's always had good grades, yes, ma'am.
And she's maintained those good grades.
Yes.
When you were called to the counselor's office, when she first told the school counselor, who was the first person you called?
Maybe my husband.
Isn't it true that you called Alex to go
I-
down with you?
I called him before. I didn't. I thought the worst. I thought maybe pregnancy or something. I didn't know what to expect. I just knew it was severe because they were calling me to go down there.
You thought Emily might be pregnant?
Well, like, not that she would do that, but like, I didn't know. Like, why are they calling me down to the counselor?
You were upset that Alex was busy working and couldn't go, isn't that right? I'm sorry, thanks for the vet.
I don't know if I was upset. I've always tried to get him to be more involved in her life.
Were you open and honest with the Detective Trevino?
For the most part, yes, I believe so.
When you say for the most part, are you sure?
About the relationship between me and Alex, no.
So, when Emily would come home, you would get her bags of clothing, is that right?
Yes.
And you would wash the clothing.
So it depends on where, I guess we were. If it was the apartments, my grandparents would wash the clothing because we had no access to washer and dryer.
So did you ever wash the clothing?
I did, yes, ma'am.
Okay. And did you ever see any stains or semen or blood?
I never thought to look, but I know clothes was washed at her dad's house.
Yes.
Images when she was 6. Did she still have trouble wiping?
Wiping her bottom?
Yeah.
I don't recall. This was
It's dated.
2014. I don't recall. I don't think she had issues wiping her bottom.
The age of 6, she didn't have any issue.
For the most part, no. I mean, maybe I would help her from time to time, but mainly herself. No, she would clean herself.
And she would clean herself, but she wouldn't bathe herself.
I mean, I would help her from time to time, but not religiously bathe her every day. No, she would help herself, and if she needed help, I'd help her.
And you and Emily had a great relationship.
We still do this then.
And so during that time, you never noticed any out of the ordinary.
No,
And did she have any health issues?
just anxiety.
So you never took her to the hospital for any sores or cuts or bruising?
No,
How about tears or scars?
no.
How about any irregular bowel movements?
She would have some tummy issues a lot growing up.
How many times have you tried to talk to Emily about this incident?
I try my best not to.
So if Emily has testified that you tried to talk to her several times about this, that wouldn't be true?
This is a violation of the rule, Your Honor.
Overruled.
I mean, maybe, but I try my best really genuinely not to. Like last night, I picked up her boyfriend and we went to eat. I try my best to alleviate any stress that she may have.
Do you recall telling the district attorney's office that you actually believe Emily was 5 when this happened?
5 or 6, I don't recall the starting date.
And you understand she didn't start seeing Alex until she was 7 in 2014?
I don't want to say yes or no. I don't remember. I'm horrible with dates. When we initially came on here, I said the wrong date of marriage. I just don't want to say yes and then be wrong. Horrible things.
And when you take Emily to the doctor, frequently you have to fill out a form that says when was your first period, right?
I believe so, yes, ma'am.
Okay, and what date do you use?
I just say 2012. I'm sorry, when she was 12.
When
I
she
don't,
was 12.
yes,
Okay. And so if Emily's testimony is that it was when she was 10 or 12, you think 2 years is a big difference for when your period started?
I believe it was 12. But
I think that's the witness.
Just a moment of the court's time, Your Honor. Hi, Clarissa, how are you today?
I'm doing okay.
When was the first time you and I met?
Yesterday.
Yesterday?
Mm.
And have we ever spoken about, really gotten into the details of why we're here for it today?
No,
You know, on direct examination with defense, they kind of brought up some of the infidelity. And was that a risk you knew you were, by testifying today, did you know that that was going to be something that was going to be brought up?
absolutely.
And yet you still chose to testify and be honest about that?
Anything I lose is worth it for my children.
Do you believe that this abuse took place at the hands of Alexander Rodriguez?
I do.
And do you remember telling the district attorney's office that you felt like you had done a lot of things wrong in your life?
Absolutely, yeah,
You stand by that statement today?
I do.
And that those wrong things you did was with respect to choices or timelines or things you could have done better or been more aware of things? Is that fair to say?
Absolutely.
Do you wish you had seen these things a lot sooner?
Yes,
Now, counsel just asked a bunch of questions with respect to timeline, but is it fair to say that around the 2nd grade is when your daughter was able to kind of more fully see Alexander Rodriguez?
I believe so.
2nd grade, that sounds right, about makes sense.
I believe so.
And that would be kind of around the 2nd grade, you're probably 6 years old, 5, 6, 7, just, you know, when school starts. 5, 6, 7 is maybe a fine age range to pin down. Would you agree with that?
I do.
And when is your daughter's birthday?
11/11/07.
07 plus 6 is 2013.
I believe so.
2nd grade, again, give or take a little bit, hard to know with dates, and it was so long ago from today, over a decade ago, right?
Mhm.
But that sounds right about the 2nd grade?
Yes, sir.
And why does the 2nd grade sound about right?
I'm just really bad at dates. but I believe so, yes.
Gonna we briefly approach?
Yes.
No further questions, Your Honor. Pass the witness.
Any redirect?
You recall telling Detective Trevino? I'm sorry. That you didn't give him a full story.
I'm gonna object to leading, Your Honor.
All right, that'll be overruled.
So in regards to the relationship, no, I've stated that, no.
And what did Emily say to you specifically regarding the allegation?
Must object to hearsay, Your Honor.
Sustained.
Can you elaborate?
Hold on. They filed an outcry notice for this witness.
Your Honor, please.
Then that'll need to be a hearing outside the presence of the jury if you're offering her as an outcry.
Yes, Judge.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, remember my previous instructions. So we're going to have a brief hearing and then I'll bring you back in. All right, everyone, please be seated. All right, defense, I believe you still have the witness.
I have no further questions.
All right,
From the state.
is this witness excused?
Yes.
All right, you may step down and please leave the microphone behind. Remember my previous instructions, the rule has been invoked. You're not allowed to discuss your testimony within enough. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, defense, call your next witness.
Christina Rodriguez.
Excuse me. Absolutely. Can you raise your right hand for me? Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I swear.
All right, you can lower your hand if there's a square microphone up there. You'll put that somewhere on your shirt, please. And make sure you keep your voice up so members of the jury can hear, all right?
Okay.
All right, if you'll state your name for the record.
Christina Ontiveros.
All right, keep the voice up.
Christina Ontiveros.
All right, defense, you may proceed.
Christina, who are you in relation to Alex?
I'm his mother.
And where was Alex living in 2014?
I believe he was. I'm sorry, real bad with dates. He wasn't with me. He was living with his dad.
And did you have a house here in San Antonio?
Yes.
Okay. And at some point he moved in with you in 2014?
Yes.
Okay. And was Clarissa Herrera married to somebody else at this time?
Not exactly when she got married. My understanding, she did get married when during that time frame. Yeah.
Now, was Emily visiting every other weekend during this time?
No. There was times that she wasn't visiting. Is this when he was?
No, so let me preface this by saying anything before 2014, we're not gonna discuss, but
Oh.
after 2014. So when Alex was living with you,
Okay.
who was living in that house?
It was me, Alex, my other son, Ethan.
Your Honor, can I approach the witness?
Yes.
Wait a minute.
So ladies and gentlemen, there are certain motions in limine that have been filed by both parties. And they always like to make sure that witnesses don't violate any of the rules in the court's order. So when you see attorneys for the state or the attorneys for the defense approach your witness and speak to them, it's just to remind them about the previous court's orders so they won't violate it, all right? So when you see them speak to a witness, both the state and the defense know exactly what the attorney is saying. All right, you may proceed.
So, back to who was living at the house during that time, you said it was you, Alex, your husband,
No, Ethan, my son.
Ethan, your son, and who else? And it,
I believe so, 2014.
later on, did Emily start visiting Alex regularly?
Not all the time.
And so, how often would Alex see her?
I have to object to speculation, Judge.
That'll be overruled if you know.
I really don't, it was kind of it was kind of a hard relationship for all of us, because it's like, I know that Alex was the dad and I was never classified as the grandma. She always called me Christina, and Clarissa and them always tried. A lot of times we couldn't see them or see her.
So were there times when Emily would sleep over at your home,
Where
at your house?
would she sleep?
No.
I'm sorry.
Were there times when Emily would sleep over at your house?
Yes.
Okay. And where would she sleep in the household?
Sometimes with me.
Would she also sleep with her dad, Alex?
Yes.
Would she also sleep in the living room?
In the living room, it was kind of hard because it was kind of recliners. So it's mostly if you would lay down, it would be kind of sitting.
We previously introduced some pictures of your house and relatives. Showing what's been marked as Defendant's Exhibit 8. Are those the recliners that you're referencing?
Yes.
Okay. And so, did anyone share a room with Alex at that time?
No.
Okay. And Ethan, how old was he at that time?
I know he's 5 years apart, but I'm real
He's 5 years older or
younger.
than
Younger.
Alex?
Mhm.
You recall his date of birth?
Who's?
Ethan.
Um, I'm sorry. I'm like right now so nervous. I'm sorry.
Okay. What sort of things would Emily do with Alex as a family?
We were always doing family things. Either go to Six Flags, Cinnabon, go hiking, go camping. But it was always all of us.
Mhm.
And if it was a spring break, my sister and my nephews.
Where would you vacation?
Mostly we just did like things in town, the zoo or hiking, not really anywhere out of town or anything. We would visit my mom when she lived in Lago Vista and there by between Marble Falls and Cedar Park.
Did you ever offer that Emily sleep with you?
Did I offer? Mhm.
Did you tell Emily that she couldn't sleep in the living room?
Object to hearsay, Judge.
Overruled. You can answer the
Oh,
question.
okay. No, I never said that. I just, my thing is that they were recliners, so it was kind of hard to really, you couldn't really like lay down. So I never said no, she couldn't.
Where did Emily want to sleep?
A lot of times she wanted to sleep with her dad. A lot of times what me and her would watch TV, and then she'll lay down there and fall asleep.
Um. Did Alex have a job?
Yes.
What was his job?
I know he was working at an RV place in Bernie. And then later on the paper company in San Antonio. But then before that, there was like construction work.
Okay. What was your relationship with Emily?
We would watch TV or do things, but never. We did things. I don't know. It's like, I can never say that I was like very, we were close. I know that she would do like a regular thing, like come over here, let's do this. But I don't know, it's kind of hard to describe.
And you said that was because of the strained relationship
Mhm.
with Clarissa?
Clarissa, her family and stuff, like she would call Clarissa's mom grandma and then Clarissa's grandparents, but I was always Christina.
Did you go to South Padre Island at times?
Yeah, we would go to South Padre and we invite her. There's times that Clarissa wouldn't let her because she needed a
To object, Your
babysitter.
Honor, to narrative.
Sustained.
June of 2024, did you take Emily to South Padre?
Yes,
And this was after the allegations came out.
You don't have to answer, so the court reporter can take it down.
yes,
Did the subject or the topic of Alex's arrest come up?
I'll have to object to leaving, Your Honor.
Overruled.
Did the subject come up?
yes.
And how did Emily, how was her facial expression or her reaction to the topic of Alex being arrested?
There was really no reaction. I expected like for her, I think I was more emotional. As the one that really kind of told her was,
I'm gonna have to object to narrative, Judge.
Overruled.
Just describe how she reacted.
she was just sitting there listening because I wasn't really the one that was telling her about it. It was the person I'm with right now.
Mhm.
And as he's telling her, she was just kind of,
To narrative, Judge.
Overruled.
You can keep going.
I expected her to be crying. After that, I was more emotional. And I thought that's what I expected for her to be reacting.
When Emily was younger, did you help bathe her?
Yes,
Okay, did you ever notice any cuts or bruising or bleeding?
when she was younger, no.
Okay. And did you ever see any scratches on her?
No,
Okay. Did you ever see any seminal fluid or anything like that on her clothing?
no,
How about a blanket?
no,
Did you ever see anything out of the ordinary?
no.
Has Clarissa reached out to you after the outcry?
Like recently,
Well, since 2022, has she reached out to you?
she had texted me a couple of messages.
Generally speaking, what is it that what was the topic?
I'll have to object to calls for hearsay, Judge.
With regards to hearsay, that'll be sustained.
Do you know how many times she reached out to you?
The time she did kind of reach out, it was kind of like, what is she up to kind of wise?
Did you ever observe Alex and Clarissa having I guess the extramarital affair?
I'll have to object to relevance, Judge.
Relevancy.
Hold on, Judge.
All right.
When did you move out of that house?
When Ethan graduated, from high school, that's my younger boy. So then that's when I moved out and moved to Bernie. I don't know what year that was.
Okay. And then who ended up living there?
Ethan, Alex, and his uncle,
And who is his uncle?
John Paul Rodriguez.
Okay. And did Alex work with John Paul?
Yes, they worked at the RV there in Bernie.
And so during that time, all three men were living in the same household,
Yes,
and Emily would still visit.
yes,
And would you make appearances in the household as well?
sometimes, yes.
So when did Ethan graduate? Sorry.
That I can't recall, sorry.
Was it before COVID or after COVID?
Oh, it was before COVID.
Okay. Does Emily still have contact with some of your family?
Objective speculation, Judge.
Overruled.
Yes, she does.
Okay. And do you still have contact with her?
At this moment, no, because I don't want Clarissa turning words around that I'm telling her things. So I decided not to text her.
When was the last time you spoke to Emily?
I think when she started school this year, kind of wished her good luck and that I did love her. And if I don't talk to her or anything, it's not that I don't love her. It's just hopefully she understands why. And then just gave her some advice because I know she was talking about maybe graduating, joining the military. So I just gave her some advice
And that was August of 2024.
around there. Yes.
Where is your room in relation to Alex's room? When you were living there?
In the Shanefield house, it was my room here, a bathroom, and then a hallway, and then 2 rooms. So his room was to the right.
Is it a small house?
Yes.
How many square feet?
Not sure, like 22 probably. I'm not too sure really what the square is, but it's small that you can kind of hear things going on.
Did you ever hear Emily make any noises at night?
No,
Okay. Did you ever hear Alex make any noises at night?
no. If I would hear anything, I'll mostly get up, see what's going on. That's how much you can kind of hear, but no, nothing that for me to be kind of suspicious or anything.
Is Ethan a gamer?
Yes.
Okay. What are his hours?
Let's object, Your Honor, to the relevance.
Overruled.
Back then, yeah, I used to stay up late. Now that he's kind of working and everything, now he kind of sleeps early and stuff. But yeah, back then, yeah, he used to stay up like late.
Do you recall Emily getting her first period at your house?
At that time I wasn't living there. We had just happened to stop by and they told me she was in the restroom. I went over to check up on her. Then after that, I remember Alex saying that he had just called because I asked him if they wanted me to go get some stuff for her. She said no, that they already got it. And then Alex had just called Clarissa and that Clarissa was going to come pick her up so that way they can spend it together.
Now, did you notice a difference in Emily's behavior before Alex got into a relationship with Lisa?
Yes.
Okay, what was her behavior like before and what was it like after she met Lisa?
So when Lisette wasn't in the picture yet, they were real close. So we were always like doing stuff, or that he will hang out, they will watch TV together or games and stuff like that. When Lisette came in the picture, she was just kind of like wanted to stay back. And I would tell her, like, why are you acting like that? It's like you need to get involved, you know?
And to be fair, Lisa had a lot of kids.
Yes, and it was kind of shocking for not just her, but for us too.
And so do you ever recall Emily locking herself in the bathroom for long periods of time?
That I don't know.
Do you recall an incident where Alex walked in on her in the shower or anything like that?
Let's object to leading, Judge.
Sustained.
Do you recall any inappropriate moments between Alex and Emily?
No,
No inappropriate touching or kissing or anything like
no,
that?
Let's
no,
object to
no.
leading.
Overruled.
Did Emily, that you know of, try to commit suicide?
That I don't know. She did mention one time that she was cutting herself. And then that day she was spending the night over there with us and Bernie. We're watching TV. She was talking something because we were watching some series on Netflix. Then I did call Lisette and asked her, like, hey, I know
Let's
that.
object to narrative.
Sustained.
Did you notify her mom?
No,
Did you notify Lisette?
yes,
You notify Alex?
no.
Um, did Clarissa pick up Emily when she got her period, or did Alex take her to Clarissa's?
My understanding, Clarissa was gonna pick her up, but I don't remember. Cause I don't know if we had, I think we had left already by then.
Were you there when, Emily snuck out of the house?
No, but I had heard about it.
Did you ever meet Roy?
There was a couple of times that me and Steve had gone to the house to pick her up, to take her like school shopping and stuff.
So you would contribute financially for Emily?
There was times that, yeah, my sister would send me money, and then after that, me and Steve would put some money like to buy some clothes.
And Alex, did Alex contribute?
Yes,
uh, When did Alex start paying child support?
it's when he got picked up and he's been locked up right now.
We start.
Oh, when he start, um, when he came home, cause from
So
when he was younger,
in 15?
around there, cause I remember going to the courthouse with him.
1 second, let me approach. What number was? Is it? I only have one. In 2015, did Alex put himself on child support?
Yes, cause I remember going to court with him.
Okay, and I'm showing you Defendant Exhibit 13. Is this the original petition in a suit affecting the parent-child relationship?
Yes, yes,
And was this filed on March 9th of 2015?
yes.
Move to admit Defendant Exhibit 32. It's a certified copy of the petition.
So I have to object to the relevance of this, Your Honor.
All right, that'll be overruled. Defense exhibit number 32 is admitted.
And published to the jury.
Yes.
And there's been a lot of comments as to which house and what your address is. Can you tell us the address that you lived with Alex in, the full address?
106 10 South Greenwich,
Can you spell that for the court?
SHAENRIDGE, one whole word.
You mentioned there, you tried to see Emily more often,
Yes,
and why couldn't you?
that sometimes we couldn't understand. We don't know if it was because of her stepdad.
It's objective speculation, Judge.
Sustained. All right, state.
Just a few brief questions. Ma'am, how are you today?
Okay,
I just have a couple questions just so I kind of better understand. You had kind of briefly spoken on direct examination about, they had mentioned noises basically at night. Is that fair to say?
do what
That
again?
that the attorneys for the defense kind of asked you questions about hearing noises at
Yes.
night, things of that nature.
Okay,
And you lived with your son for many, many years in that house, correct?
yes,
And it's just a one-story home.
yes,
Um, when you say you never heard a noise at night, are you a pretty heavy sleeper?
No,
You're a light sleeper.
yes,
And with being a light sleeper, do you sleep with the door open or closed?
open,
Door open all the time
yes,
for all those years.
yeah,
And in 4, if not 5 years, you never once heard a noise at night. Am I understanding that properly? Because they asked they said on direct, quote, did you ever hear any noises? And you said no pretty quickly. Is that fair to say?
yes.
You never were woken up for anything?
Well, a dog barking, but it mostly be our dog or something.
A dog barking, a storm,
Yeah,
anything like that?
then for that, yes, I would wake up.
But otherwise, of course, 4 years, never woke up for anything.
If it's for what you're saying right now, yes, for thundering, stuff like that, because sometimes when it did rain, I will go outside and sit on the porch.
And were you ever like listening for things at night? Or did you ever have any reason to really kind of hone in or focus in to try to hear something at night?
Outside, yes.
But inside,
Inside, not really.
no reason to believe that anything was happening inside.
Correct.
So nothing really to listen for.
Yeah.
No further questions, Judge.
Ma'am, do you love your son, Alex?
Yes.
Would you lie for him?
No.
That's what it is.
No questions, Judge.
All right, is this witness excused?
Yeah.
All right, you can step down. Make sure you leave this for a microphone behind. Defense, do you have another witness?
We have 2 more, but for the
Not today.
instruction,
Okay.
or 3 more, I'm sorry.
All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to recess today at this stage. I'm gonna have y'all back tomorrow at 1:30. I'm sorry, I always say tomorrow. Do you guys want to come back on Saturday? Yeah, no, I'll have you.